Uh-oh.
No, that's, I'll steal the embassy.
I think Jim's.
You lost her? Put on the salt.
He was, so.
Well, great. I'll take the blue ones.
I thought you could try it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
For trial it for day.
Get an extra large there.
Yeah.
We could probably do that. And so we could do, you know.
Yeah.
we could do that
We
under
can just go
old
from
business.
there.
Just do that first.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Deanna out there?
Don't see her anymore.
Commissioner Rollo has COVID.
Yeah.
So she's going home.
Oh.
She was there. when we
She
were-
was there.
Yeah.
She called me yesterday. She was feeling that great. No, she called me yesterday and said, but I did get her to, she
I'll
had
put her on
been
the
to a
phone, put her
doctor.
on speakerphone.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Hmm. Jen, are you trying to call her?
From your great one, and from the email, which is like around the.
We'll give her a minute to go to this call. At least she can listen in. Technically won't be able to vote, but she can.
She can't vote by electronic, right?
I think the rule is you have to be seen in a, identified.
Okay.
So if there's a split vote, we'll refer. We'll refer to the.
No. Do we have upset money or something? Yeah. We can always postpone the vote, but we can get something.
Yeah, I'd rather not postpone the vote on the capital.
Right.
Because we're kind of, you know, this is the next step, and that if we speak to Chairman Schmidt. Just to brief him and then.
Oh, no. Okay. Browser keeps kicking her out, so it's unsupported.
So
She said she was supposed to buy one more time.
well, we can get her on list on the cell phone so she can listen.
Okay.
Then,
All right.
yeah.
She's on.
Mm,
But she said she would try one more.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, Chair's gonna call the meeting to order and first time that we excuse Commissioner Rule due to illness. Why don't we talk about Sheriff, you got one now? Yes, okay. Why don't we talk about our real brief situation?
I was trying. So,
You can go back to work. No,
Oh.
sheriff doesn't work, but. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Okay. Like me, what's
So
that?
here's a full analysis that Jody did of the product in the bid.
I put all the bids together.
We have copies for you, Jen. I
Yes.
think you already got them.
Yeah. Thank you. So put all the bids together. So
Yeah.
it starts with our current product, Imperial. Imperial is a company that we are now with.
Yeah.
And so you can see like price changing with theirs. Medline, we did a trial with. So they gave us their trial price. They also gave us a less absorbent attendance price. McKesson came in with their Prevail, and then Geriatric Medical came in. Their bids were both for attendance, and that's the same product that we're using through Imperial right now. So we, in the beginning of the year, realized that the attendance, there was something different with them. The staff came to us complaining that they didn't understand what was wrong with them. We did some digging. So the product that we had beforehand has the two straps on the side of
Yeah.
them. So that's what we were used to. We weren't notified. They switched us to a one strap that after a while wasn't sticking to the product and was sticking to the resident's skin.
Yeah,
Right. So then we had the skin issues going on.
yeah,
We then reached out to a couple reps that we have and asked if they'd be willing to do a trial with us. So the two companies were McKesson and Medline did a 2-week incontinence trial with us. And this is the Medline product that they sent to us. So the sizing with these products went from small, medium, large, extra large, 2X, and then your bariatrics. The new products that we trialed combined, so it'd go a small to a large would be one size. And they have the large into a 2X.
you can make it up with a strap.
Yeah, so it's like the wingspan of the product went larger. On them. And then they had their bariatrics. So when we had the companies come in, they'd show us like the difference of the products, how you can pull them apart, the absorbency of them. And they are comparatively the same. With the McKesson product, there is this purple absorbency inside of it. So the product actually holds more. Yeah, and it whips like everything away from the skin. With the other product, we don't have that, so we were noticing that it's not as absorbent. It's hard to open. So with the two trials, McKesson sent everything privately. We had a 2-week trial that came in. They had reps in the building explaining all 3 shifts, how the product worked, their sizing, that they have a 24-hour calling system. That trial went very well. We took a week off from trial, went to Medline. The Medline trial, the product came in by common carrier. We had enough supplies for 3 days. Ran out. The staff were then had to revert back to our attendance product, the product that they didn't like. Got more product in on Monday. That was only a couple days worth of product. So the trial basically failed with the non-delivery of product coming in. So we then, with all of the bids coming in for this, once we asked to go out to bid, everybody put in. How we decided what 2 bids were going to be at the end is we wanted and needed a better product for the residents, more absorbent, wasn't gonna all right, all. So right away, we eliminated the Imperial. It's the same product that we have now. The Geriatric Medical, the 2 bids that came in with that, we eliminated those because they're both the Attends brand. One's the current,
It's the same.
right, one's less absorbent. The Medline bid The less absorbent product we eliminated because we wanted the better absorbency than what we had. Left us with the McKesson and the Medline, the two products we trialed. So on your second page, it will show you the projected yearly cost for all of the companies. So with Medline, this entire year, we've been able to get a common carrier. Can't rely on the product coming in. With McKesson, we are guaranteed 2 deliveries a week. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that comes private fleet. So when we took the products together, the absorbency, everything, and outweighing all the options that we had, we came down to the McKesson Prevail product is what would be best for our facility. The price was the end point, and then you're seeing the price of it and what we could save and how much is there for a better quality product than what we have.
So the difference is about,
It's $65,000
In savings.
in savings a year.
so
With what we're
talking
setting
about
up.
going to the right hand, I'm talking, if you're talking about the right hand.
Correct. The right-hand column and the
Yeah.
best comparison is the furthest left-hand column, which says current product.
Right. Right.
So if you look at the difference in the
Yeah.
two pricing,
It's a no-brainer.
it's a better product
Right.
as trialed by our staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and with delivery, that, you know, the absorbency of the product, the relationship.
How we doing with storage and stuff? I know we got, what's going on with that?
Storage is okay, so, we're still using the attendant that we have been using. And then we have one of the storage rooms on unit 3 for all of the pull-ups right now.
Well. Any questions on it? Oh. You did a good job, fabulous job, I guess.
She also has,
I bring up stuff that-
she has a full write-up. Commissioner Watson, I told her that, you know, you like the full write-ups. So she has a full write-up with everything that he just described to you, that whole process.
Yeah.
So if we could just attach that to the minutes.
A lot of work.
Yeah, she really put, it's the savings of $65,000
Yeah, I guess so.
for a better
Like,
product.
well, yeah, believe that.
Yeah.
I thought it was across the street the other way.
No, it's you know, and it's the staff's pick. In the sense
It's
that,
making their job easier and it's the quality.
well, you know, we started to get, you know, the you know, the marks and, you know, it was clear to us that the marks on the skin were attributable to how the product attached. And, you know, the elderly, not everybody, but tend to have more frail skin. I mean, they weren't open areas, but, you know, you could see the marks. You know, of the product.
Without the weeding process, you get rashes, you get all kinds of problems.
So do we have Imperial now?
We have
Yeah.
material now.
So just by going through this process, they dropped their price by 54,000.
We noticed that.
So I think it shows the value of doing this once in a while rather than just.
Right.
It also shows, like, if you look at the geriatric medical, the last 2 columns there.
Yeah.
It's the same
Right,
product,
yeah.
and their prices are
Yeah,
lower
So,
than
Yeah,
the
it's very,
Imperial
yeah, it's
prices.
good.
well, good
I
job.
think Robertson, comment is well taken. He's right, every once in a while you have to do this because you know it's a lot of work, but it does pay off in the end.
Well, I think Jody designed this to do it the right way, you know, it's unlikely that there's ever a day when I'll be changing someone's intent, so it's absolutely foolish for me to be involved in the selection process. So we had the people that were doing the work, doing the selecting.
Yeah.
And then Jody, you know, working with Glenn to put out the bid. So, but the 2-week trial thing was really instrumental.
But they need a.
Yeah, the motion.
Okay, I move to award the bid to McKesson
Okay,
for 145,539.
I'll second it.
And as you know, that's an approximate.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Based on the people that we have right now.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
am I allowed to contact to let them know that?
Sure,
the
yeah.
award has
but you have to contact everybody.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to contact everybody.
All right, you in favor of the problem?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yes, the bid vote unanimous. All right, you're off to see the wizard.
Nice job, Jody.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Nice job.
Anybody need any product?
We also changed, Mr. Chairman, we also changed some of our skincare, product at the direction of Jen Mantos, you know, our
Yeah.
nurse that, our Medicare and skincare nurse. And that seems to be working out really well also.
Yeah, it will go live. The launch starts on Tuesday. We will have the company in-house for the day, explaining everything to the staff, how the products exactly work. They've had it for about a month in, but they'll actually get the reps there to go through everything.
And they'll be there all 3 shifts to go over everything with her.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, kid. Nice job.
Yeah. Okay. A little more of a tense part.
Well, you know, Jody worked really hard.
Any questions?
You know what?
No, quietly. Can still try it out.
Just think it's one of the interesting facts about this, that when we went to that product about 30,
No, more,
35 years ago,
before my time, so it's been 40 years ago.
it cost us $90,000. I remember I remember the number because I remember talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks about the expense. So it was 90 and now we're at 145. So you think about that over 40 years, it hasn't gone up.
No, it hasn't gone up that bad compared to most
Much
things.
price, you know?
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Okay. Alrighty. Sheriff, let's talk, I'm gonna have you and Jeff talk about our little pet project on Henry Mountain.
Yes, sir. Justin's our resident expert. We've been at many times with Major Burke and
Yeah.
also Kelly Packer and.
Taking care of our friend up there.
Go ahead, Justin.
I have
So
these
you should have
photos.
pictures, those are the final
I don't know,
Yeah.
there should be a final one.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some before and after.
Yeah, right there, that's
They
the one.
sprayed the hydro seed yesterday.
Yeah.
Came out great.
You did it? Okay.
Landowner is happy she can be.
Yeah, she's tough about that problem.
She's pleased.
Is she happy? Yeah.
As happy she can be for right now.
Yeah, she's not gonna want a fence now, is she?
No, we're,
So what we have left to do is a simple 2-post gate.
Gate, she wants a gate on there?
But super simple, just 2 posts and a piece of slat fence going across it.
Okay.
She doesn't want anything too intrusive.
You
And
want
that's
an
she just
industrial
doesn't
looking-
want people driving.
just something to discourage someone from driving, which is easy. Actually, I have my wife already working on that for me.
Oh,
She's
nice.
playing on Pinterest, finding ideas of how to make it look country, 'cause that was what she wanted.
Yeah.
But, you know, our whole radio system would be,
Okay.
as you know, this whole radio system is based on us providing services to the town.
Yep.
But the Tenerife site is the most critical site.
That's probably the most critical, especially for the northern half of the county.
And, but you know, when I went up there to look, I didn't blame her. I mean, that is right adjacent to her house. And it really, it needed to be, it needed to be cleaned up, truly did. And
Are we mowing that? We used to mow that years ago. Are we still doing that?
No, she maintains the outside for blueberries.
Oh, she does?
She wants to restore the blueberries there. So
Oh,
that's,
all right.
she's gonna take care of that like she does the rest of the property once it grows in. Inside the fence, we take care of that.
Yeah.
So I go for the weed whacker. To breed it. And that's all she asks is we keep it looking nice inside.
Inside, yeah.
The fence was painted and stained to a color she chose. The lower 20 feet of the tower has been painted to a forest green color that she chose. So it blends into the environment.
Yeah.
At eye level anyways.
I mean, tower's obviously pretty tall. So.
Yeah, it's the same height as the old tower, just
Got more stuff.
looks different. It actually has less antennas than the old tower. Just
Yeah, she's got the discount. right?
they're all new and
Yeah.
shiny silver. They're starting to dull up a little bit. Now that they've been up there.
Any issues up there with communication issues now?
We have had none.
Yeah.
Since the new system went live, we have had no major failures. We've had a couple small issues that Motorola had to do some adjustments from the build. But even with the last round of severe weather we had, which was pretty substantial for our area, no failures. The system stayed alive.
That's all you just give us, the janitor will leave these here for you for the minutes.
And then
The pictures are.
the very last thing we're gonna do up there, talking with the contractor that did this, he said it wasn't the right time to transplant trees. We have some evergreens we're gonna transplant for, but I'm gonna wait until it's right so we don't kill the transplant.
Yeah, probably be a, you know.
Probably a
October.
fall.
Yeah, it'll probably be October, before then. Otherwise they won't move.
Okay, Jared, you want anything there?
Oh, I think you did an excellent job on with Major Burke and Billy Parker. They did a lot of diligence to make it right. Like we said, that's one of the most important sites we have, so gotta make it right.
You know, the other thing, just to mention, Mr. Chairman, if I can, it's not like looking at a postage stamp. I mean, you know, there's a lot of cooperative work.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like, yes, when the bid got awarded to Motorola, it's not like, okay, we're done. It's now, you know, these guys did a ton of work to, you know, on, as part of their county job, just to, you know, make everything fit together. So, and it's been a long project. If you think about when we started, it's been a really long project.
Yeah.
But they've done a great job with it. And this is kind of like the, you know, the icing on the cake was to, is that we have a very economical lease on that, you know, for our end of the lease on that antenna. I think the owner has been, you know, really generous with that. So, you know, to make sure that was done to her satisfaction, I think was important, keeping that lease price, you know, within the reasonable range that it is.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you.
We're reaching the one, just to throw in another thing about the system, to you guys all up here. We're 1 year since we went live this week. So we're starting to do our
Imagine
annual,
that.
we're starting to do our annual
Yeah.
preventative maintenance already.
Imagine that. Which is included, by the way, in.
Yes.
In the original contract.
Yeah, right.
But can you imagine that?
I can't believe it's all right.
It's already a year from when we flipped the switch and moved everybody over.
Well, we can understand her
Yeah,
frustration with the fact that, you know, hadn't been done in near proximity to erecting the antenna. You know, we certainly understand that. So I think we went a little bit out of our way.
Chief, have any issues?
No, the chiefs are happy. As a matter of fact, Major Burke and I attend all the chiefs meetings. They have them every month. And Steve always brings it up if there's any issues, and no issues have been brought up. If any issues are brought up, they're directly relayed to Justin and they're taken care of, but it's been very good.
Have any of the towns taken advantage of the Motorola contract and purchase equipment?
Some of them have bought their own equipment. We have our pending grant with DOJ.
Right.
I'm hoping we get an answer on sooner than later.
Well, you know, we've got the answer. It's just when you get the answer, the federal government takes forever to enact it. I mean, we had that same problem before.
Yeah.
I remember the last
It was
CDS one
months.
was quite a while before we actually got the formal award.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have that 73,000, was it?
715,000.
That's what I'm good, one decimal point off.
Yeah. And that'll
Which is all for radio equipment for the towns. And
that'll replace all of the law enforcement radios for county operations. And everybody that needs them in the town still, we included them in that grant.
I've been talking to the chief in Rollinsford. He's, you know, he checks in with me every once in a while.
We've given him a couple of county radios to get by. Or
He checks in with me periodically.
Okay.
But we've got the word that we've got the grant. It's just a matter of distributing it.
Yeah.
And this is the type of grant where we'll need to go to the executive committee and say, hey, we've got this grant.
Yeah.
We'd like to distribute it as according to the way the requirements of the grant are, but we don't have it yet, so there's nothing we can do about it.
I recall, I think it took a couple of months.
it was around the September timeframe.
Yeah.
Our Motorola rep yesterday came in, check on things, and he said lead time right now is 3 to 4 months on that equipment still. It's gotten better, but it's still a little
Yeah.
while. And for this site, to keep that grass, because it's just hydro seeded right now, and with the way the weather's been, Milton Fire Department's gonna be helping us out with watering up there.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna use the forestry equipment, water that
I
twice
was
a
gonna
day.
say, how you water it, she must have a well that you.
She does,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're trying not to tap her
That's a well,
resources.
Yeah. That would be
Might not
nice.
be the summer.
Well, you don't know, being up this high, you just don't know.
But it's also given a good opportunity for the guys to train on some of that equipment, 'cause it's sprinklers for house protection and stuff that doesn't get used often.
So this would be like a forest fire prevention kind of. thing.
Yeah, so it was a win-win for the fire department to
Yeah.
give us a hand with that.
Okay. Okay. Okay, was there anything else on that? You guys are good? Yeah, okay. Alrighty, item 2 is review the capital improvement plan proposal. Okay. And for the record, we asked the administration to put together a 6-year capital plan. The commission's been looking at all the items, over the past few weeks. Administration has one more item that they'd like to add. See that, what
Can I call it a different name?
would be right?
I'll just call it a grinder. It takes the sewer, the sewage runs from the very back of the complex and runs around the, kind of,
Perimeter of the building.
yes, well, it's actually further than the perimeter
Yeah,
of
it's
the
in the
building,
road.
because we ran it in case in the future years, there's ever a need for an extra housing pod.
Right.
We ran it outside of that area, so that we wouldn't have to, dig it up and change the sewer line if we ever needed a housing pod 3. The side that comes from in back and picks up Riverside goes through a grinder before it enters the Dover sewer system. We've replaced the grinder twice, and so we've had, I know that you're gonna find this shocking. We've had the sewer system we've been tied in with the Dover sewer system for 30 years now. It happened a few years after, 4 or 5 years after I got here was the actual tie-in. And, but I remember it, actually, I'm sorry, it was 1990. It was 1990 and we tied in, but that grinder is an essential piece.
Yeah, you need the grinder, we love the grinder.
Because
Painted it a bunch of times and fixed it.
Some of our residents, are confused about what they might flush down the toilets and those kinds of things. So the grinder is the final step before it enters the sewer system. And if we don't, it clogs up the pump station that you see down the road. And that Dover's not happy about when that happens.
Mhm.
So when we replace the grinder, it's a cooperative process where Dover helps us bypass the grinder with, they've got like a portable grinder that they use, helps us bypass, and we maintenance uses our bucket loader and sets the grinder in place. It's quite a process. So we've replaced one full grinder since I've been here.
Is that the muffin one?
That's
That's
it.
the
That's the word I was trying to, that's the word I was trying to avoid. Yeah.
Literally, when I first saw that when we replaced, I really thought it was something for making a large amount of muffins.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
That, but we keep a spare motor and grinder, but we're about to replace it. And that means we'd have no spare, which means we'd be down for, could be months, with the way things are ordered now. So what we wanted to add that to the capital list so that we can actually order the backup as we replace. We're gonna do it probably in September because it is a massive amount of work line the bolts up and, you know, get everything just the right way.
Is the function. so we-
Yeah, and plus we
So,
do it in-house, so, you know, it's,
I got no problem with it, because we gotta have.
well, there's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
There's no other way around it, and that brings, that allows the sewer to flow gravity wise till it reaches the pump station, and then that's when it becomes a pump system,
Enforcement.
a force main, that's what you call it, yeah, force main for a while down the road, and then ties into the back of Liberty.
Yeah,
So I wanted the permission to add that, it's in the amount of 18,000 $546.68, and of course, we'll ask Janet to add the 10% contingency like we've done it with all of the other items.
Okay.
So we color coded this, Mr. Chairman, and listed what is related to Riverside, simply because, as you know, those things for Riverside are fully reimbursable.
so we don't have the,
under
so
Medicaid.
the muffin monster is not in.
It is not in that, sir. I didn't feel comfortable in adding it to this list because you hadn't approved it yet.
Right.
So Janet will have to add that, onto the,
But that'll be on the Riverside, but only.
that'd be in, no, it's all Riverside.
All Riverside.
Yeah, it's all Riverside. So it would be all,
So what's the final total we got here?
final total at the end is, 16,617,351 plus the muffin loans.
Right.
So you'd be looking at, you know, another 18,000 to 35, you know, around 635. And that would be covering us for 6 years for a variety of projects.
Okay, you got any questions?
And these are all of this is what you've been hearing
Yeah, we've heard it.
presentations on in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks, the individual presentations.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion, Robert, for you to move this on to the
So,
delegation. I'll second that.
Could I give a little update on that, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
No, I'll like to, I'm sorry.
Okay, so vote unanimous, Robert?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did reach out to, Chairman Schmidt, with the plan. So my plan now is to call the subcommittees. I happened to get a call from Representative Wall yesterday about an unrelated subject, so I did brief her. So she was just waiting for word from me to call the Riverside Subcommittee together. So I'll begin, asking Janet to,
Schedule those.
to try and schedule those so we can get this done. And then we will, schedule our routine executive committee meeting
At
to
the same
review the
time.
second quarter budget. And
Have the delegation meeting after that.
then have the delegation meeting after that. So we carry it through just like it was a budget.
Did Schmidt come up with any idea when they're gonna consider that yet?
He's waiting to see how
Now
quick
the
the
subcommittee.
subcommittee meets.
Yeah.
and those things.
That makes sense.
I mean, we obviously like to get it done, you know, August or
Right.
September at the latest.
Okay.
Then we make a judgment, presuming it's approved.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, some of these items are obviously critical,
For sure.
and some of them are
Well, it's a 6-year plan.
thinking, as you know, we just finished our last 6-year plan last year.
Well, we'll run item 4, then we'll new business.
Diane has a transfer item, Mr. Chairman. It's an ARPA
ARPA
transfer.
transfer for the second quarter. So we're looking to transfer 102,221.32 from ARPA to the general fund to cover the expenses. There was just a little less than $100,000 for the dispatch radio project that Justin was talking about to finish that with the fence and whatnot. And then we had a small bill from the HVAC project from Turnstone for $3,000. So we're looking to transfer $2,221.32 for the second quarter, 2024.
So
I'll second it. Any discussion on it? No? Okay,
You could sign and
Yeah.
take that.
you'll sign this one right here?
Yes, that's perfect.
Which amendments then let me approve this transfer?
you signed it too? or-
Yes.
We are still working, with the state, and as you know, we submitted to them a request to finish the roof project, with a grant from the state, and we continue to work with them on that.
We still haven't heard back on that. right?
We have not, Diane kind of called them and they're still working on it.
I gotta call him. I'm not trying to call Councilor Kid. Keep him there. They've always seemed to say that he's always willing to help, so.
Well, he's, seemed to be very willing to help, in other stuff, so, I think it would be great. if you-
I'm gonna reach out to him today and see if I can get him to help us with that.
That would be great.
Okay.
I tried to make,
Uh,
The roof project, yeah.
But
Yeah, what we've been talking.
that's not the re-roofing.
no, ma'am.
No, that's the air
Yeah,
handling.
the
The air
air,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah, the air.
Come up with a word. Okay,
And the steel, mostly.
And the steel.
because we're over.
Yes, that's correct. The steel is what killed
The steel is,
Yeah.
they're working 1 day a week.
which we're,
We're trying to.
I have
it's a little better.
I have a plan. Well, I'm working on a plan, but we need for the gentleman from Turnstone to come back from vacation. So I'll report on that. I need to get his consent on the plan, and Jimmy or I will report to you next
I'm
week.
surprised those people haven't blocked it.
Well, Jimmy or I will report to you next week. I think we have a good plan.
Okay.
As long as Turnstone agrees to it.
Sounds good. All right, item 5, the norm photo older new business. No, okay, item 5 is questions and comments from the public. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Any questions, Susan? You're gonna ask me the same question again, are you?
Yep, why don't we just start off with that question? We have a delegation meeting coming up. Are you gonna put the nursing home on that agenda? Or ask Mr. Schmidt to put that on the agenda? Yes or no? We don't have to get into a debate.
Yeah, no, there's no plan to do that at this point. Unless the Republicans want to come in with a plan for the $64 million, then I suppose we could talk about that. I don't think that's going to occur.
Also, we've gone down by $1 million from last week.
Well,
week we said
65,
now it's
64, whatever their fictitious numbers they come up with, if they're willing to bring that in, as I said before, I'm all for it.
Okay,
You think they're gonna do that? You have any idea? But it's not, you're not on the delegation.
I'm not on the delegation. I'm just sitting here as a constituent, and I
Yeah.
told you I was gonna ask you every meeting.
Yeah.
So I holding true to my word.
Okay.
So,
And I'm holding true to mine.
that's,
Go ahead.
any update with regard to our little septic problem underneath Riverside? Or are we just gonna wait till this?
We're hoping to wait until that.
Is that a health issue?
No, it's because it's encapsulated below the cement floor. So right
So
now,
where's all this stuff gone?
it's eventually going into the sewer system. It's just forming pockets
Yeah.
on the way and the ground's held up underneath. So we're
Yeah.
as sure as we can be. Problem is when you do a capital project like this, and if you start on the project before it's approved, then you can't use the bonded money to do it. So it's not like we could,
Okay.
use cash flow and then repay ourselves. We can't. Wish we could,
I wish we could do that,
Yeah. it was-
because that'd be the first thing we'd be doing.
that and that radio.
Yeah.
That was $3.5 million, $6 million. A lot of money.
Okay, I have a question.
Never even got a thank you for it.
With
Yeah.
regard to over at the jail, prison, whatever you want to call it. We do have a lot of ICE detainees over there.
We
and
do.
that's how we kind of have extra revenue that comes into the county. So in the last week, obviously, the national politics has heated up a little bit. And the presumptive Democratic nominee has voiced several times that she would like to get rid of ICE. And I'm just wondering, if she was elected president, have you given any thought as to how that would impact our county? But on the flip side, on the Republican side, wants to round them all up and deport them. And what impact would that have? And I know this is totally out there and thinking futuristically, but have you even begun to think about some of those implications? And I have a third part to this.
Oh, let me answer
question.
the first part first.
Okay.
The answer is, it should have no impact on us whatsoever, because the ICE inmates that we detain are criminals.
Okay.
So these are people that have committed a crime, they've served their sentence in wherever it may be.
Mhm.
And then they come to us awaiting deportation. So whether or not there is we do not hold anyone who simply is being detained for lack of proper paperwork.
Oh,
We
without
only
having that
detain
criminal
criminals.
charge.
Right.
Okay.
Most of the
Most
time,
of the time deportation is part of the sentence.
yeah, almost always
Always.
deportation is part of their sentence. And in fact, I've been told that sometimes their sentence gets lessened if they agree to deportation as a part of the sentence. So in other words, they might serve less time if they agree to be deported at the end of the time they serve. So I'm not saying that there isn't what I call a fresh arrest. So if someone gets arrested at, say, at the Canadian border or one of the borders, and our poor sheriff's department drives up to pick them up, they might stay with us for a temporary period, a day, 2 days, 3 days, but then they're usually released. They're processed out of Burlington. And then they're usually released from there with the hope that they will self-deport. It's the only time that, so we hold criminals. That's the best way I can do it. And I don't expect that's gonna change.
That's not.
Okay, I just,
No, good thought.
No, it's a good
I
question.
tell you, I come here so I can learn.
No, it's a good
And-
question. It's a good question. They're criminals.
And
And
so,
I don't expect that's gonna change at all.
And more people were deported under the Obama administration than even under Trump. That's just a historical fact that Obama deported it. He just never talked about it.
That was never the issue.
It was never an issue.
But that's not the people we
Okay.
thank you. That was the said.
You had a third part. Did I?
Yeah.
You answered
Oh, okay.
in your explanation.
All right. Any motion out of one or non-public session for the purpose of personnel and contract. The motion, seconded, roll call, Commissioner Walker, myself, yes, the vote unanimous, the commission will retire and enter the non-public session.